Okay, gentlemen, so last week I spoke about how going and buying a good pair of Chelsea boots or going and buying a good pair of dress shoes or boots in general in a department store or in a mall isn't necessarily the best idea, and if you want to get the most bang for your fantastic, handsome buck, then you need to go and shop online. But I figured I would show you an example of that instead. So today we are heading into Metrotown, Burnaby, British Columbia, Canada to go and shop for a good pair of boots or shoes, and we're going to take you along with us and see what we can find there. Let's do it. Okay, so first store on our list is a Canadian luxury shoe company called Browns, and they sell all types of different brands of shoes, from Lacoste to their own brand called Luca Del Forte, which I have a pair of Chelsea boots for that you guys have seen on Instagram and in my video last week and in prior weeks. And you heard what I had to say about them last week, but let's actually go in and have a look at what they have on display. So gentlemen, as you can see here, there's a fantastic selection of Chelsea boots, or what appears to be fantastic. So let's have a look at this one here. And right off the bat, you can see that it gives the illusion of a fantastic Blake stitch. You can't see the outside stitching as opposed to a Goodyear welt, which we'll get to in a second. But one of the main things you want to look at here, when I go shoe shopping, I look at, to make sure that it's stitched properly, I want to look at the bottom of the shoe, and then I want to look on the inside of the shoe at the sole. And if you see in here, you can see that the sole here is glued to the rest of the shoe as opposed to actually welted. And that's how you can tell a good welt from a bad welt, is because any shoemaker worth his salt is going to want to show the welt on the inside of the sole here. So when you look inside the shoe, you can lift this up and have a look and see if you can see the welt on the bottom. And if you can't, that means it's glued on. And so here we have what appears to be a Goodyear welt on the boot. And the main sign of a Goodyear welt is that you have the welt on the outside here. Now this is actually some really nice suede on this shoe here. And it's high quality for the welt that we have. But if we look on the bottom, we can see that another good sign of a welt is to look on the bottom and look at it. See, the welt is fake here. It's like plastic, kind of, to give the impression that it's welted on the bottom. And they're going to charge a good price. It's actually a solid price for the shoe because the suede is a solid quality, but the welt isn't worth the price. So we are going to move on to the next store on our list. Next up on our list here is Banana Republic, and in our video the other week I said definitely don't buy shoes or boots from Banana Republic in particular, because they're gonna upcharge you for the name. It's just the name. Everyone wants to go to Banana Republic and buy good quality shirts and pants, but when it comes to shoes, it's not the same thing. So you're gonna be paying a premium price for something that is definitely not premium. So we're gonna head in and have a look. And so what we have here is a Brogues Derby. And so the difference between derbies and Oxfords or Bluchers is that there's an open lacing system, and that means that the laces, the leather that the laces are in, is on top of the lower part, as opposed to on an actual Oxford where the lower part is on top of the lacing system, making a closed lacing system. And now I said before as we were walking in that these Banana Republic doesn't make the best quality shoes, and you're paying for the name, you're paying for the price, but I stand corrected when I picked up this nice pair of Brogues, because this leather here actually feels quite good, and it says in this that it's a genuine Italian upper, which is this part here, which is the upper, and it looks fantastic. It looks like it's a high quality Brogue. And then if we look at the welt, the Goodyear welt, we look on the inside of the shoe like we talked about before, and you can see the stitch on the sole there as opposed to some glue. It's hand stitched there. And if we look on the bottom, you can see the stitch is perfectly in line here with the Goodyear welt on the top. So this is, I definitely stand corrected, gentlemen. Like, this is a very high quality shoe, and for the price you're gonna pay, it says here it's 140 Canadian dollars, and I think that would be a perfectly fine price to pay for a nice casual pair of Brogues like these. So I definitely stand corrected from what I've usually seen in Banana Republic. Okay, gentlemen, so I have actually what we were talking about earlier. This is a nice pair of new style Scout boots or Chukkas, and right here we have more of an old style pair of Scout boots or Chukkas. In my personal opinion, when you want to go and buy a Chukka, you do want to make sure that you've got a nice Blake stitch on it or a nice Goodyear welt. This one here is cemented on, and it feels like the suede of it is actually high quality, but if we look on the bottom, it's cemented like as if it's a Timberland or something like that, or a Doc Marten. And in my opinion, that's not really the way you want to go with your boots, especially when you're going to pay a high $200 for it, because you can't re-stitch it, you can't re-sole it. If anything happens to the sole on a cemented boot or sneaker, that's it, you're done. When it comes to a Goodyear welt or a Blake stitch, you can still go to a tailor or a shoemaker and have those guys put a new sole on for you essentially and have it look brand new. So cobbler, that's the word, thank you, cobbler. And so when you're gonna go pay $200 for a boot, you don't really want to be paying that if it's not going to be properly stitched or welted.
Okay, so the third and final store on our list is one I'm sure you guys all know about, and that's Aldo. And I really do like Aldo for the quality of casual shoes that they have, but sometimes Aldo falls victim to the Banana Republic syndrome of upcharging for a low quality shoe. And so we're gonna go inside and see if we can find out anything fantastic from Aldo.
Alright gentlemen, so unfortunately we had a little bit of an incident and the audio recordings from this section onward are non-existent. So something happened with the camera, so I'm going to voice over what I have here from my house while watching this. So I noticed Mr. B's, which is Aldo's main line of shoes, they had a quite unique look for their double monk straps. So I picked up a nice pair of suede double monk straps here and had a look at them, and I believe the price was around 160 bucks. And I wanted to show that This was actually a nice pair of casual shoes, but even still, like throwing down 160 bucks for these, as you can see, they try to throw you off. They try to show you that on the bottom that it's a real welt, a real Goodyear welt. But when you look on the inside, you can see that the sole's glued to the insole, which is the same theme that I've kind of been going with this whole time, is that when you look inside the sole and you see it's glued instead of stitched, that's when you know that it's a fake stitch, and that's when you know that you don't really want to be paying a premium for this type of shoe. And then next up, I went and found a leather pair of double monks, and these were, for the price, I believe they were about 50 bucks. I was kind of impressed with the quality, and these shoes in particular, if you wanted to go and buy a good pair of casual double monks, like these were on point for 50 bucks. Like, that's a good purchase. You can see the leather's shiny, would last you a number of wears. It'd be a good casual shoe, and it wouldn't set you back too much. And I think that's what Aldo's mainly for. These nice casual shoes like this, but we went and had a look at the boots right after this. Well, Aldo does make a nice pair of Chelsea boots. They had these new type on display there, and it was kind of like a Jodhpur, and so I compared them right there to the Jodhpurs I was wearing from Thursday Boots in terms of quality, price, and look, and you could see these ones have like a zipper on the side, and they looked really stylish. They looked really cool, and I fell in love with them instantly, and I was really tempted to buy them. And so I picked up this black one, and I rubbed my finger along it, and the suede was coming off on my finger, and they wanted to charge about 150 bucks for this boot. But the suede, like, look at that, like, you can see it, it was absolutely terrible, the quality of this boot. The welt wasn't proper, the zipper was kind of not real nice metal, and just the feel of the boot wasn't that good. Now, you could pay the extra 50 bucks to get this brown one where the suede was much nicer and the overall make of the boot was better, not a real welt. But if you really were desperate and didn't want to pay the extra, those ones were good. Alright, gentlemen, so as I said earlier, there were some issues with the sound in a couple of these clips. It was essentially non-existent, so I am here re-recording this outro. But gentlemen, the whole point of this was to show you that spending big money on these big name brand department stores like Aldo and Banana Republic, it's not really going to return value for the amount that you spend. The welts aren't proper, the leather's usually not proper, and overall, you don't want to be spending $200+ on shoes that you can't repair if the welt isn't properly done. These brands try to entice you with these really cool designs, especially Aldo, and they're really attractive designs, but when you take a closer look and inspect the shoes, it doesn't pan out to the price that they're charging. Like I said a few weeks ago, stick to buying your shoes, to buying your boots online at Thursday and Ace Marks. I'll link those places down below. I want to say a big thank you to my awesome, super fantastic, and absolutely sexy lady for coming with me to the mall and filming and being on camera. Once again, she is an absolute gem. Gentlemen, if you are loving these types of videos, you can go down below and sauce me one of these fantastic, awesome bad boys to shoot us up through that algorithm and smash that subscribe button to show some support for your man. Gentlemen, have an absolutely fantastic rest of your day, an even better week ahead, and of course, as always, stay handsome.